Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of this series on the computers. Right now we're going to be building up our computer like this box, and we're also going to be adding the monitors in and see if it turns on. So yeah, let's get right into it. So first we're going to have a rundown of our part list. So we have 1 terabyte of storage, a hard drive. It's Western Digital Blue Caviar. 8 gigs of RAM and 2 sticks, DDR4 RAM slots for our motherboard. We've got an ASRock motherboard, which is mini ATX size, with an Ryzen AMD 3 1300X on it. And we've got the product fan already installed, those two. We got a Corsair 550 watt bronze certificate fan, not very environmentally friendly. Semi-modular, and our case is a mid-tower Corsair case, the 100R. It's very nice, beginner-friendly case, and it'll be fun to work with. I've worked with it once before on a previous build, and I'll be excited to see what it can do this time as well. We're now going to be starting off with our first step, which will be the motherboard. So, generally, motherboards I can't show you now, because I've already installed my fan. It's one of the only things that I can leave you with, not help you with, because fan installations are generally very different. The only thing I can help you with is the CPU, which is already installed, my bad. But when installing it, you'll see a little square right here. You'll place your CPU it'll be corresponding with triangles. Then you latch it down and it's locked in. Place your fan on top of it. You'll see there are 4 screws on each side of the fan. You unscrew those, plop the fan in, and then screw them back in. So that's pretty much what we've done already, which is applicable to all motherboards and computer builds, but it won't be the same for everyone. That's why we haven't got it. And what we're going to be doing now is installing our 2 sticks of RAM. So, the RAM slots on this motherboard are situated to the right side of the fan. They're these 4 ones right here. On your motherboard's instruction manual, you'll see which slots to put it in. You either put it in the 1 and 3 slot, or the 2 and 4 slot. In my case, it is the 2 and 4 slot, and all you need to do in installers is plop these up, and just plop it right in. Generally, you want your name tag to be facing towards your fan. So I'm just going to pop these in. You're going to apply equal pressure on both sides until you hear a pop. Same with your other stick. Just give me one moment. Both sides in and pop. So that's our RAM installed, and our gates will have already closed onto our RAM. That's why we know it's locked into spot. Some RAM installations will also have gates at the bottom here. You also need to undo them when you're putting your RAM in. But for our case, it's just the top gates. So we're going to be moving on to our next step now, so give me a moment while I prepare my case. So I'm back. I've unscrewed my front panel case, which is generally your acrylic or plastic or glass panel, where you can see into the entire case. So take that off, have it nice resting somewhere. One moment. And now you're going to be left with this nice open space. Thumb screws that you have, or normal screws that you have, just leave them somewhere where you know you won't lose them. And this is our working space for the rest of the time. So first, your motherboard comes with an I/O shield or an I/O panel. Your case will generally have it on the opposite side of your USBs that the case comes with. You want to make sure you can see the proper way that it goes. You'll see that on the motherboard manual, and you'll put it to the back of the case, get it nice and lined up, and you want to be popping it in like so. Okay, the struggle's a bit real there, but we finally managed to get it on. And what's next to do is install the motherboards. We're going to go to a different viewing platform for that. So we're back again, and we've got our case on the side this time. And we're going to be picking up our motherboard by the fan and plopping it on the correct side for your board. When you put it in, make sure you're lining up one thing real quick. Haven't quite put it in yet. You want to make sure you're lining up your I/O panel with your I/O panel that you've just installed. That'll be your marking point. And generally, it'll go in the middle of the space allocated for your motherboard. So bear with me while I put it on. Okay, so now that my motherboard's in place, I'm going to be taking my screws, which will be supplied with your case. It'll be anywhere here. Generally, it's found where you put your hard drive and SSDs, which is for me is over here, and you want to be screwing in your case. So we'll come back when that's done. So next we're going to be installing in our power supply. So obviously, you're going to need our power supply. Right now, not caring if it's modular or not modular. So modular is like if it has all the cables already plugged in or not plugged in. Mine happens to be semi-modular. These two important cables that will be in every one will be plugged in or in the power supply already. So with your power supply installation, you're going to see this little bracket down here. Some cases will come with a bracket that you will need to unscrew, screw onto the motherboard, screw onto the power supply, and then you'll be putting in your case, but not this one. You want your fan to be facing upwards, and your plug that will go onto the outside, and the master switch down here facing the bottom and the outside. So I'm going to be pushing that through. Should fit in nice and snug, like a bug. And you want to be tightening that with screws that will come with your case. So let me do that real quick. I'll speed it up. So we've fully screwed in our power supply with our trusty screwdriver, little Phillip head with that magnetic tip. Magnetic tip really pulling through. And we've got all the things put into our case except for our hard drive and our graphics card. So next we're going to be moving on to our graphics card, and before that we're plugging in our hard drive. So yeah, let's move into that. Now for my case, this Corsair 100R, it's very simple. Bit of a beginner case if you ask me. It just has plastic trays that you can pull out, straight out, and for me, this HDD will just slide right in to the plastic screws. Give me a moment as I sort out this rocket science, and there you go, it's in with the plugs facing the back of the case, and I'm just going to plop that back in. So for me, these are for 3.5-inch HDDs and SSDs and 2.5-inch SSDs. So that's our hard drive installed, and now we're going to move on to plugging in a few things, and then we'll go for the graphics card. I'm going to do a few of the easier plugs right now. So obviously you see this massive 1624-bit cable. It'll be plopped in right where you see the massive line of cables up here. I'm going to wait till you hear like a decently felt pop. And you want your CPU cable to go on where your CPU cable goes in. Mine's top left up here. I'll be plugging that in. Now, all of these plugs have locations and a map in your motherboard manual. So that's in your motherboard manual, go find that. And your case also comes with a big variety of plugs. You're going to need to plug all of these in nicely. So we have our HD audio cable. You'll find that on your motherboard manual, like I already said. And let me time lapse this little part of me plugging stuff in, then we'll come back. So it's just, right now we've finished plugging in all of our cords that we have there right now. So it's just good to have that done already, so that if you need to unplug it, so be it, because your graphics card might be quite big like mine is and take up quite a lot of room. So you're going to have to unplug a few cords, but you can always plug them back in. You know the locations now, so it's going to be quicker next time. It's also, now's a good time to plug in any modulars that you have. So you're going to need to be knowing them beforehand. That won't be too hard. You'll have a SATA cable modular and a graphics card modular. So you're going to have to plug them in beforehand if they're not already, if it's not modular, then don't worry about that. So we're going to be moving on to our graphics card in a second. It's going to plug in two more things. So now that we've moved on to plugging in our cables, I'm going to move on to the your hard drive installation with your cables. So your hard drive is connected to your power supply as well as your motherboard. Everything needs to be connected to the motherboard. So take off your back panel and you'll see your hard drive sitting wherever it is. For me, it's right here, nicely with all of its cables chilling right there, ready to be pushed in and plugged in. I'm going to set down my panel over there and we're going to move on to this installation. So you need to know your modulars for this. So this is one of my modulars for my SATA drive. It's going to plug in, or you'll need to know where it plugs into. So mine plugs in here. It's one of my plugs in. And my other plug for my drive. One obviously, this is the cord that plugs into your motherboard. This is the cord that plugs into your power supply. Plug them in now. Just give me a second as I plug them in. Okay, both plugged in now. So first I'm going to plug in the motherboard one. It should be right there through your motherboard. So you just go straight through. For case management, I'm just going to pull it through here and go around to the other side to see what it's looking like. And then for your SATA cables, there's going to be two plugs that you'll be seeing right here and here. The top one is generally the better one. That's how I like to think of it. So I'm going to plug in my SATA cable over here. Make sure you're plugging it in the right way. And in you go, my boy. In you go. Okay. There's my motherboard to hard drive. Now I'm also going to thread through what's going to be connecting to my power supply. I'm going to put it through the bottom. So it's kind of out of the way. Not really, but kind of is. This is going to go into my peripheral and SATA ports. Plug that right into my power supply since I have a modular. And there it goes. That's my hard drive fully connected now. And now we can actually move on to the graphics card. And then we're moving on to some cable management, which is so fun. We're back on this great angle. for the graphics card, first thing you want to be doing is locating these brackets right here. So since this has already had a graphics card in it before in the correct spot, already taking out the 2 brackets necessary, all that's easy. So all that's needed to be taken out, actually have the spare part right here. For my specific case, I just unscrewed this part, take it out, don't need it anymore, just put it aside just in case you ever made it for some reason higher resale price. And then take out these 2 brackets right here. There'll be the 2 brackets below where you're actually going to plug in your graphics card. And once you've done that, for me, I'm just going to move it onto its back so it's going to be easier for me to plug in. And then we'll move on to that flattering end. Okay, so now we're going to plug in our graphics card. Your big boy will have at this end, it'll be like the brackets that you already unplugged. And this is where you might need to remove some cables. You're going to fill those bracket holes. Let me actually remove some cables real quick. I'm just going to unplug this cable that happens to be going in the way right now. Come on, come out for me. So that's out of the way. Everything might need to move over a little bit. And now, kind of like your RAM, this is what you're going to have, and that's what you're going to plug in. So you're going to see the corresponding side, and for me it's right here, fans towards you, and you're going to plug this right in, like your RAM. Push it through, down, and should just pop right in, like so. So that's your actual installation to the motherboard. Now you're going to want to plug it in. Just making sure right now that it's actually plugged in. There's just one screw that you have to do to connect it over here. Phillips head screwdriver with that magnetic tip. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Just going to screw that in. So that will stay in place. And my motherboard, my graphics card won't move around as much. Okay, we can go back to our other angle now. So let's go back to that. So we're back with our graphics card. Case is a bit heavier now, and if you haven't already, let's go through it together. Let's plug in our modulars. So what we're going to be doing, plugging in our modulars to the power supply. This is how our graphics card, give me a moment, where's my torch? This is how our graphics card will be connecting. Obviously it won't go in unless you put it in the right way, so please do that properly. I'm going to plug him in there. He's in, and we'll connect this to the correct spot on our graphics card. So we're going to have a 8-pin header right here, and sometimes it's just 6 plus 2. So you can change it, and you also have another 6 plus 2, and one of them is going to be your PCIe. Actually, they're both going to be PCIes, but they're both important. They'll both have the same shape, so you're going to plug both of them in right here. One of them's going to be 8, one of them's going to be 6. You plug them in how they're meant to be plugged in, and we'll get back. Just bear with me. Okay. Now, our entire case is actually done. Everything's plugged in, and we could say we're done now, but we've got to do one of our most important steps, cable management. I know, it sounds so fun. And what you're going to do this is get your Ziplocs. If you have them, good job. If you don't, it doesn't really matter, but it's also nice to have it looks aesthetically pleasing if you have a glass panel like I do. So I'm just going to work on this cable management for a bit, time lapse it, let's see how it looks in the end. So this is our finished build. Haven't put it with the monitors yet, but this is what it's looking like so far. Nice and neat, everything's in place. Motherboard with our RAM, graphics card, and CPU plus fan. Got our power supply and our HDD or hard drive. So that's all the parts that are in the case. That's how to build the case and the parts in it. So we're going to move on to the not the motherboard, but the monitors, install them and see if the computer actually turns on and works. So before I plug in these two monitors, I'm going to want to be plugging in the last thing from my computer, which is going to be the power cord. It connects the power supply to the wall, which for me is going to be an extension cable. So I'm going to wrap it around where I know my two monitors will be. Plug it right over here into the power supply. Shouldn't need to show you that, quite straightforward. And then that's going to plug in to my far right one, so I know that because it's my far right thing. And we're going to be moving straight into this monitor. So this is going to be one of my two monitors. It's going to be on the right side, so I'm going to start with that one so cords don't get as mixed up as they will. So yeah, let's get right into it. So I have the cords I'm going to be plugging into my monitor that will connect to the power supply and the CPU here. So I'm going to start off with my power. This end's going to plug into the monitor, this end to the power supply. So power, since it's my right monitor, plug it into the right side. And got my trusty power bank. It's going to plug right into my monitor. You'll see that under. You just want to plug that in. Easy as it is, it's in. So you're going to have, generally most monitors have a choice of 3 plug-in options. For this monitor, my second one, it's going to be this option, the DPI cable. So you're going to want to be screwing one side into the monitor. So it goes in right here. So wait for me as I screw this in. Now since I'm going to be turning this clockwise, I'm going to wrap this cord around this side and go straight now into my, so where it goes right onto my video card, my graphics card. It'll plug right into there. Same process, just screw it right in. And now that'll be screwed in. And that's your first one done. Turn that to the right, the way I was going to plan to go anyway. And now that's done. First one done. So I'm going to do the same with the second one, and then I'll see you back once they're both plugged in. I've now got both monitors fully plugged in to my computer. All that's left to do is add the accessories in and see if it actually turns on. We'll see if they're turning on at a moment. For a little bit, I'm going to add my accessories and tell you what I did differently about this monitor right here. So I did a different cord that connects the monitor and the CPU. It's just a bit of a better cord, and you can only choose one cord per computer. So you can't do the same cable between the monitor and the computer and have the same one here. There's just not enough space unless you buy a $3 million graphics card. So they're both different. This one's a bit better. That's what I went with. So I'm going to add in my accessories. They're completely optional and based on your opinion. So I'm just going to do mine and then I'll be back. So as you can see by the time lapse and right now, we finished adding in our accessories, and all we're really left to do is to test if it turns on. The moment of truth. So I'm going to start with the monitors. I'm really like 100% sure that they're going to turn on, because it's just a power supply thing. First one turns on. Second one also turns on. Now the moment of truth. Does the CPU turn on? Will everything be spinning? It lights up. Everything's on. Okay. We've done a successful build. And that's been, since this is a system that I have previously used and dismantled to rebuild, it'll already have its windows on it. It'll already have everything on it, or it should. If it doesn't, that's a bit weird. But it'll have everything on it. And that's how to build a computer from the start to the top. So make sure you check out the disassemble video. Make sure you check out how to make a bootable drive to make Windows onto a new PC. And also check out how to find parts for a computer. These are the tutorials for how to make a computer for noobs and beginners. So I hope you enjoyed how to build the computer from parts to Windows. So if we just get this final Windows thing, we'll know we're finished. Please wait. There it is. That's my name. Okay, so thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.